The roll clock on my watch, we average 7 o'clock. Call this meeting to order, regular meeting of the Town Planning and Zoning Commission for September. The first item is approval of minutes. As some of you may know, there was a technical glitch. We have no minutes of last month's meeting, so we'll postpone that until next month when we get our copies.
I emailed, but if everybody didn't get a copy, that's okay.
Oh, I didn't check my email
No.
after I spoke to you. Okay.
It was a long meeting, so it took a little bit longer
Right.
to proofread everything.
All right, give us a chance to go over a little bit further.
That's fine. I'll go up to...
Next item is a request by Justin Stone, Connecticut General Life Insurance, revised site plan, 1350 Hall Boulevard. Who's here to present that?
Roger Kelman with F.A. Hesketh and Associates Incorporated on behalf of Connecticut General Life Insurance Company, and I'll refer them as Cigna from here on out. The application before you is for a modified site plan to permit the expansion of the existing Cigna University Learning Center. The Learning Center is located on an approximate 9-acre parcel within the Cigna Bloomfield campus, comprised of 2 lots. And on the aerial photograph, this would be the Hall Boulevard is over here to the left. This is the South Drive going into Cigna. And I don't know if you can see it on the smaller plan, but this is basically just south of the parking garage and quite a ways south of Cottage Grove Road. The existing facility was originally a daycare center, and in about 2004 it was converted into their first training center. The existing building is about 5,300 square feet. They also have associated with that a parking lot for 63 parking spaces presently. And there is a small outbuilding, a small maintenance storage shed that's located on the east side of the existing parking lot. You can see that the site is mostly wooded. Again, this is the 9-acre site. Mostly wooded. There's also some large mowed grass fields over in this area. The proposed addition would be to the east of the existing facility. It's approximately the same size as the existing facility, approximately 5,300 square feet. At the same time, they would approximately double the parking area, and it would more or less mirror the existing parking layout, but it would be over to the west of what is currently the entrance drive over here. This property is located within the Design Development District for Cigna. There is an approved master plan, and the proposed project is consistent with the overall master plan and Design Development District. There are some wetlands on the site. There's 2 watercourses that come into the area of kind of towards the area of the proposed development. There's a major watercourse that runs north-south through Cigna and runs down to the south. And there are some wetlands along the perimeter, and there's a grass swale and some wet areas in here. We have been to the Wetlands Commission. They've approved the site plan with minor and standard conditions last week. So we've incorporated those conditions into the final plans. I did receive comments from the town engineer last week, and I did just respond today. We have no problems with any of the comments or conditions, and I've incorporated those into the revised site plans, which you don't have. I'll refer to a couple of minor changes on the site plan as we go through. What I'd like to do is I've got about maybe a 15-minute presentation just flipping through the basic layout and grading plans, and then I'm happy to go back and fill in any details, answer any questions that you might have. Should I pull this out a little bit further? Can you see that plan? Okay. So again, this is the 40 scale layout plan, actually 20 scale, I'm sorry. Again, here is the existing building. This is the proposed addition just immediately to the east of it. There'll be a large connector between the two, between the existing and the proposed facility. Oh, I did want to quickly say, as you are, I'm sure aware, Cigna has done a lot to improve and to really increase the use of their Bloomfield campus. And as a result of that, there's a lot more people there, and there's a lot more need for additional training facilities and additional space at this particular facility. And that is why they've requested to approximately double the size of the facility to meet their current and immediate future needs. So the existing parking lot is over here. Here's that little maintenance building that I mentioned. This is the proposed expanded parking area. It looks almost exactly like that. It's a circulation through here. Right now, the existing drive comes in, again, this is the south drive that comes in off of Hall Boulevard over here. The drive comes in, they've got a kind of a circular drop-off area. That would all be reconfigured, so there would just be a single drive coming in, and then there would be a loop around this new parking area as well as the loop that goes around the existing parking area. So we would wind up with a total of 120 parking spaces, which is well in excess of the required parking. We would also add additional accessible parking spaces, and we would redo the ones that are over here. They're not exactly in compliance right now, so we would make sure that all 5 of these spaces, including a couple of van accessible spaces, would all be in compliance with the latest ADA standards. The major entrance to the facility will be, right now, there's an entrance over on this side. They would reorient that so that the major entrance would be right here, right next to the accessible parking spaces. And there's the new classrooms in here, plus the existing classrooms over there. We're providing additional lighting, similar to the lighting that's already on site. They're going to add a security call box in this central location, this little red area right here. The sidewalk, right now there's a sidewalk that comes in off of the drive, and it kind of dies in the parking lot, and you kind of wander through the parking lot. We would actually create crosswalks, ramps, and sidewalks, so there would be a much nicer route from the sidewalk out here to the facility itself. So that's pretty much the layout plan. This is the architectural plan. This is just the basic architectural layout of the interior of the building. This is the existing facility over here. Here is the addition. This is the section that connects the two. So you can see it's basically mostly classroom space. They also have meetings and other similar events in this facility. This is the existing building. This is the proposed addition. This is the elevation view coming this way. It's designed to mirror the existing architecture of the existing facility, one-story, slab-on-grade construction. This is the grading and the soil erosion sedimentation control plan with all of the happy notes that we put on these plans. Basically, the site is fairly flat. There is a knoll in this area right here. We're not sure how that came to be. It does have a number of trees on it. That would have to be leveled out. Basically, the parking lot will be level with the existing parking lot, but it's graded so that the water, the runoff from the parking lot would go to a water quality swale and biofilter area that we're creating over in here. We're also relocating, there's the existing drainage swale in the wetlands that's been approved to relocate that swale up to the north of the new parking lot. So that's the grading plan. Landscape plan. We're adding 6 large new deciduous canopy trees, a number of other smaller trees, a few over in front of the building. You can see, if you remember, the building, the area is quite heavily wooded, so this kind of represents the existing wooded areas. This is the grass area. We'd be adding some lower shrubs in the 2 parking lot islands, a couple of buildings to try, a couple of plants to try and shield this big old ugly electrical transformer that happens to be sitting here that really can't be moved. And then quite a bit of vegetation in the wetland areas and in this proposed water quality basin. And these are primarily wetland grasses and some shrubs, wetland type shrubs. And then some additional buffering. There is a water course here, so there's some additional buffering from that water course off the edge of this parking lot. And last is the drainage and utility plan. The existing drainage, there are 2 systems that run through the site right now. This, again, here's the existing parking lot, here's the existing building, the proposed parking lot. Right now there's one drainage, a 12-inch pipe that runs through the edge of the site over here, and it handles a small area of this parking lot and a little bit of runoff from the roadway and an open space area here. It discharges to this swale that's in the wetland area. We would intercept that, put in a new drainage swale here, and again, that's part of that heavily landscaped drainage swale that would be over in this area. The rest of the site, parking lot, drains to a couple of catch basins in the edge of the parking lot and around the circular drive. Those would remain in place. This pipe would remain in place and continue to discharge, so there would be no change to the discharge runoff to either of the 2 existing the existing swales, drainage areas. And then here you can see that everything is sloped towards this water quality basin, and that will then overflow back into the 2 existing man-made drainage swales. Most of the utilities would be connected, the electric communication lines would be connected to the existing building through that system. There is a sanitary sewer that runs out of the existing building that runs down and connects with the MDC system that heads down south to their treatment plant eventually. And we would tie into that right here for the new addition. And I think that basically completes the quick run-through. I'm happy to answer any questions and go back to any sheets that you may have questions on.
Thank you, Mr. Gelman. Mr. Snyder?
I believe you have my memo on the proposed conditions on here. You should have on your, I'm sorry. You should have on your table in front of you the responses to the town engineer's comments. I think as summarized by Mr. Kalman. I think they pretty much addressed all the issues, and we will be reviewing the final plan submitted for signature before you sign them, and have the deputy engineer make sure that all her concerns were met.
Okay, questions from the commission? Mr. Merritt?
I have none.
Ms. Reed?
The parking,
Is your microphone on?
hello. You mentioned the parking lot on it by the buildings? Okay, and they come in from where? The people, when they come in?
Okay, let me go back, I'll go back to the layout plan. So let me go around this way.
Yes.
So again, this is the South Drive. So right now, to come into the facility, there is a driveway that comes down into the site. There's kind of this loop that they've got here. So the parking lot is in this area. So right now, they come down here, they would loop around here and go into this parking area. The entrance to this existing building right now is over on this edge, okay? With the proposed revisions, we would get rid of this loop. The drive would continue to come in this way, and then parkers could either go to this side or they could come over to this side, and they could loop around until they find a parking space. So the drive is centered more or less on the old building here. The handicap parking is all over here. This is the proposed new main entrance to the combined facility, which would be right here. So, and then there's a sidewalk that runs along the south edge of the parking lot, and then this is the sidewalk that I mentioned that comes down from the drive, comes down into the site. Right now it kind of disappears here, but we would create a nice sidewalk that would run through this island and then go towards this central entrance. I don't know if that answers.
Yes, yes, thank you.
No questions.
No questions.
What is the schedule for this?
Well, they are, I think they've actually got plans into the building department to begin the process of obtaining a building permit. I'm not sure how much work they would get done this season. I know they would like to get started. There is a fairly desperate need on their part for this facility. My guess is that they'll get as much done as they can this year and probably finish up in the spring. But I can have them provide a more detailed schedule to you.
Well, they've only got about maybe a 6-week.
Right, yeah, so I'm not sure how much they'll get done. Maybe if they're lucky, they'll be able to get the foundation in, I don't know. I have asked them for a schedule, so we can certainly provide that.
Thank you. Anyone, any further questions? Hearing none, the matter is before us. I would accept the motion for approval and go from there. So I'm going to... Mr. Lester.
I'll make a motion to approve the request by Justin Stone, Connecticut General Life Insurance Company, for a revised site plan to allow a 5,310 square foot building addition along with 49 new parking spaces with associated site work at 1350 Hall Boulevard, Cigna University, in a DDZ zone district, Connecticut General Life Insurance Company owner. This approval is subject to conformance with the reference plans dated 9/6/19, as may be required to be revised, and the representation made on the record, and the following conditions specified in the memo by the town planner, which is dated on 9/18.
Second that?
Second.
Moved and second. Any further discussion? Comments? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Chair votes aye.
Thank you.
Good luck. Next item on our agenda, which I just buried, request by Backy's Brewing, revised site plan to allow tap room expansion. 1296 Blue Hills Avenue. Who's here to make that presentation?
Ed Fabricki, Backy's Brewing, co-founder, owner. And I apologize, I don't have a large format plan for you guys to look at, but I do have some 11 by 17s that I can hand out.
I think they have those already.
Do you have those already? Okay. So I don't know how much background but we had started in 2012 in a building at 1296 Blue Hills Avenue, and we've slowly started to expand through that building, and we're looking at the last unit to take over the bulk of the building. We currently operate brewery manufacturing with a tap room attached to it. What we're looking to do is turn that last unit in the building into a new tap room of approximately 3953 square feet, with a total of 15,438, I think is what we have for the whole industrial space. We've worked with planning, and we've worked with the building department to make sure we're in conformance with requirements. The bulk of the work is all interior. The only exterior work would be a 954 square foot exterior deck off the back of the building. The back of the building is all bituminous concrete parking area, formerly used as a loading dock. So we're not changing any drainage patterns. We're not removing any green area or anything like that. But like I said, the bulk of it is interior work, demo, plumbing, electrical, that type of thing. We'll have, obviously, seating, a small area for some live music, a tap room bar, basically the same operation that we have now, only on a little bit of a larger scale to accommodate more customers. We've looked at parking requirements. We meet that as far as I think they called for 63 spaces. We're at 64. There is additional overflow parking in that rear area, so nobody would have to, park up front. We've got good flow into and out of the building. Most of it is in the rear. As far as ADA compliance, we'll have an ADA compliant entrance in the front. We're planning to keep pretty much the same operating hours, maybe slightly longer. We wouldn't stay open past like 9. We're not a bar. We want people to come in, have a good time, have a few pints, but we don't want to stay open late and create, potentially a nuisance or anything like that. We will, and we have in the past, have food trucks come periodically, so we don't serve food on premise. We do have snacks. We have a Class 1 license for packaged food. But as far as the food trucks are concerned, that's a separate issue. Don't anticipate noise to be any issue. Like I said, we currently have music inside, and the new tap room would be essentially the same. It would be all contained. We wouldn't have anything outside on the deck. And even if we were to, again, it's an industrial space. There's no residential within earshot that I think would create a public nuisance. As far as patrons are concerned, well, we work with Lyft, so in the unlikely event that, somebody imbibed too much, we would either get a designated driver or provide a lift to them at either a discount, or we would cover that. Little separate note here, we are on a bus line, so as far as parking spaces are concerned, that might alleviate some of the demand for parking if people, choose to use that. We're also looking at maybe doing a bike rack outside for people who want to, believe it or not, they like to do that. So, we're looking to be a good, it's a slow ride. Yeah, so essentially what it all boils down to is the same operations that we've been doing to date, only on a little bit of a larger scale. And that's what I have to say, and I'm free to answer questions.
Mr. Geiger, any further comments?
No, I think you have my memo there. There really isn't a lot of exterior work being done except for the deck. And again, I know they do have a couple of, once or twice a year, they do have special occasions. They usually come in and we have to sign off on them, and if we feel there's a need for extra parking, and I think you've parked across the street and had a police officer that made arrangements to let people through.
Right, we've done that, and in those special cases, we've also provided a lift drop-off pickup area, again, to eliminate or reduce anyway traffic flow issues and parking issues.
Yeah, and also when I was in Branford, they built the Stony Creek Brewery, believe it or not, it's on a bike trail, and they not only provide bike racks, they have bike tools in case you have a problem with your wheels. So it's a very popular spot with bicyclists, so I attest to that.
DUI on a bike, I don't know.
Well, as long as you're not on the road, I guess.
All right, any questions? Mr. Millette, anything?
No questions.
Mr. Lester?
Yeah, just one. Is there any reason why, like you have live entertainment and stuff, say like on a Friday or Saturday, that you don't stay open to say 10 or 11?
Well, our philosophy is, we're a brewery with a tap room.
Right.
We're not a bar. And
Right.
we don't want to encourage patrons to stay there, late. And all our servers are tip certified. And so, they recognize signs of inebriation. And we want to head off problems, before they occur.
That's a nice looking patio. It just seemed like in the summer, it'd be nice to...
Well, I'm not saying we wouldn't like to do it, but it's not in the plans.
Gotcha.
Ms. Reed?
The hours, you said to 9, so what time do you open up?
So Saturday and Sunday, we'd probably be looking at 12 to 9.
12 o'clock in the afternoon to 9.
Yes. So you get the early crowd who come in and they'll take beer to go, and then you have a little afternoon where people will have a couple of pints and then they'll go, and then maybe have some later ons. Right now we're open till 8, but we find that there's still some stragglers at that time, and with a bigger operation, obviously, it would behoove us to maybe stretch that a little bit.
So you just sell beer or no wines?
No wines,
Okay.
no
So you have
hard
a brewery
liquors.
on it?
Yeah.
Oh, so where's the brewery located?
You know where Three Brothers,
Oh.
you know where Three Brothers was?
I saw the way, I've driven down, I was passing by there today, and I noticed it, because I've seen it before as I would get my gas down the street.
Yeah.
And as I'm going down Blue Hills Avenue, and I said, oh, look at that, I wonder, who are those people?
So it's right at the corner of 305 and 187.
I see that. So there's a brewery right in front.
Yeah, well, that whole building, that
a
whole
brewery?
first building, you'll see, yeah. Right now, the first 3 units are production, material storage, product ready to go out.
Okay.
And then the 4th unit would be an expanded tap room.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Mayor?
I got a couple. You have a Class 1 food license, and that's prepackaged foods.
Yes.
You're not looking for any sort of a kitchen,
No, not at this point.
and occasionally you bring in food trucks?
Yes.
How often does that happen?
Once every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on, we tend to time it with what beer release.
You're going to have to speak.
Didn't do.
I'm Jamie. I'm the manager at Back East Brewing Company, Jamie Loomis. We tend to time food trucks when we have a popular beer coming out normally, just because we know crowds will be a little bit busier. I would say that's maybe once every 2 weeks or so. It tends to be on a Friday.
So it's more of an event than a normal